Hi again everybody, Jamie Harnish, Toronto Real Estate Navigator with Bosley Real Estate. Today's video is a follow-up to last week's video. I talked specifically to sellers about offer night, what it is, how it works, and why it works. So today's video is for the buyers. I'm not going to talk about the mechanics of the offer night necessarily. If you missed last week's video, just go back and take a look. In the first 45 or 60 seconds, I talk exactly what an offer night is. Today, I'm going to empathize a little bit, and then I'm going to offer some suggestions that I think are likely to improve the probability of you, the buyer, being successful on offer night. So the first thing that I want to say is, from a realtor's perspective, representing buyers who are involved in an offer situation, and from being a purchaser of real estate myself, I'm well aware of the stress levels and how intimidating the whole process can be. The feeling that you're being manipulated by the strategy and by the sellers and by the listing agent. The other thing that I would say is that it almost feels like you've been thrown into a gladiator ring with 1 or 2 or 12 other people, like my buyers were on Friday night. And the last person standing basically wins the place. And while it might be a good feeling at the end if you are that last person, if you're not, you feel like you got beat up throughout the process. There's also that feeling of having a loss of control, because whether it's one other person that you're competing against or 15 other people, legally speaking, you are not privy to the information that's on their offer. So you don't know how much money people are bidding. You don't know whether they do or don't have conditions. You don't know when they want to close, if it's soon or late. It's hard for you to know where your offer stacks up compared to the other offers that are available. I think it's important to work with a realtor who has the ability to establish rapport with the listing agent. Again, while specific information is not allowed legally to be released, there might be some conversation that allows your realtor representing you to read between the lines and be able to pry some information with their negotiation skills to figure out where you may stand in terms of the rankings, if you will, of the offers that are being presented. Anecdotally, I have witnessed and heard of sellers at the offer presentation telling their listing agent that they don't want a certain buyer to get the property because their agent representing them, the buyers, was a complete asshole. So in a one buyer and one seller situation, if your realtor is a bit of a bully and likes to push the sellers around, that might not necessarily be a bad thing. But depending on the personality of the sellers, that might actually come back to bite you in the butt a little bit, working with somebody who likes to be very aggressive. So what are some of the things that you can do as a buyer to increase the likelihood that you are that last person standing at the end of the night? So first thing I would say is timing. Make sure that you're working with a responsive realtor. When a property comes out that you think you might be a good fit, go and see it early. That gives you plenty of time to maybe see it a few other times before the offer night if possible. It builds in time for you to think about the property, whether it's the right place for you. And it also gives you time to get organized and get prepared for the offer night, which leads me to my next suggestion, which is be prepared. There are some, outside of price, there are some major factors that go into your offer and whether it's going to be appealing to the seller or not. So the first thing would be financing. Make sure that you are comfortable with how much you are prepared to spend on the property. And then your lending institution also wants to know how much money you're prepared to spend on a particular property as well. Get in touch with them before the offer night and make sure that everybody is comfortable and on the same page so that you are well aware of your financial situation going into that offer night. Another thing would be the home inspection. Hopefully the sellers and the listing agent already have one in place for you to look at. I would recommend doing your own home inspection, but if there is a home inspection in place already and you feel comfortable with at least the company that was used to do the inspection, you could always hire your own home inspector to go over the home inspection that's already been done so that you feel good about the information that's in there. You could also have them do a quick walkthrough of the property with you with the home inspection to kind of point out the things that are in that inspection that you want to know more information about. If you're buying a condo, there's also a document called a status certificate that kind of outlines the financial strength and the well-being of the condo, if you will. That's a document that needs to be inspected and reviewed by your real estate lawyer. And if you're going to get involved in an offer night, it's always handy to have your lawyer review that document ahead of time so that you don't necessarily have to make your offer conditional upon reviewing that status certificate after the offer night period. The next suggestion I have for you is to show up. If it's possible for the offer to be presented in person, make sure that that happens. Now, it's not always possible. Sometimes sellers are out of town or whatever the case is, but if it's possible to be there in person, do it. That goes for your realtor and for you as well. Okay, if your realtor is able to present the offer in person, you and anybody else who's going to be on the agreement of purchase and sale should also be at the same location. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be in the room with the listing agent and your realtor and the sellers, but it means that you're going to be in your car in the driveway or on the road somewhere nearby, maybe at a coffee shop around the corner, so that if changes need to be made to the paperwork, if there's going to be a sign back situation or something like that, a counter offer, sorry, you have the ability to make those changes and sign off and initial on them quickly and efficiently. Now, if you can't show up in person, if offer is going to be presented via email, make sure that you are readily available to respond digitally and also to phone calls or text messages or anything like that. Book that time so that during the offer night, so that you can, again, answer the phone, you can respond to text, or you could get some digital signatures and initials if needed. And hopefully you're working with a realtor who is savvy enough to have that, that software that allows you to legally sign things digitally. The last suggestion I have for you has to do with the deposit. If you're going in person, bring the deposit with you. Okay, it's going to be a bank draft, and your realtor can present it along with your offer. It doesn't get handed over unless your offer gets accepted, but you at least show that you have the money then and there to hand over that night if your offer gets accepted. If you're doing things digitally, if the offers are being presented online via email, get the deposit anyway. Send your realtor a picture of the deposit. Show that it's made out to the brokerage of the listing agent so that if your offer does get accepted that night, you already have that deposit in place. A deposit is really important because it is the leverage for the seller after they walk away from the offer night. Okay, they're not going to sell their house without having something in return as a bit of leverage. Just the agreement of purchase and sale is not necessarily enough. You need to put some money on the line. So being able to put that deposit in front of the sellers and the listing agent on offer night is a really powerful tool to, again, increase the likelihood that you are successful. If you're working with a realtor, make sure that you talk to them about some of these suggestions, and certainly make sure that you talk to your lending institution or your mortgage broker about the financing issue. If you're not working with a realtor and you have more questions, certainly you're welcome to make a comment or send me a message. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Thanks so much for watching, and be on the lookout for the next video coming up soon.